Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video, we're looking at when I am selling all of my crypto and my Bitcoin. Now, I could have left you, and maybe I did, leave you with an even more clicky title of selling all my Bitcoin and crypto. Of course, I want to have some fun here, and I hope you do as well. So this video, I'm looking at the selling point. Now, what I'm doing is bringing together my experience being an investor over the last 16 years, specifically looking at a real estate cycle. I know we all love to get wrapped up in crypto and think that crypto is the biggest thing, it's going to take over the world, never selling my Bitcoin, Bitcoin maxis this, Sailor, El Salvador, all this sort of BS stuff, right? That is not my position, and this is going to be a slightly more ranty video just based on how I invest, how I trade, how I talk to my friends, how I talk to people asking me questions about investing, and of course, my members in the Investor Accelerator, linked in the video description. The Investor Accelerator Lite and Premium, where you can learn to trade and invest with our hours and hours of course content there. So when I'll sell all of my crypto and Bitcoin, maybe I've given you a more clicky title, and I'll know that you dislike it because that's what you've done down below. Hit the dislike more than the likes. So equal out that scenario down there, smash the like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification icon. Let's look at it in today's video. So I'm bringing all of this stuff together. This is not just your typical crypto video. Oh, Bitcoin does this. It's got to just go up and then crypto is going to be okay. None of that sort of stuff. I want to look at the property cycle as well, because that is the biggest thing here, which I think everyone misses. That is where the majority of the money is. So that's where we're starting. Trillions and trillions of dollars over there in the property market. The house of cards falls from the bottom, not from the top. Everyone thinks, the small things have to fall and that it all trickles down. Not my view. If it's your view, I understand. Do what you need to. Just don't take some guy's opinion. Do your research. So I'm looking at it in terms of the bottom falling out of the market. The bottom being the land values. The land is the most important part here. In addition to my investment planning, I'm also setting up multiple exchanges to spread out my risk. I don't want to keep everything on the one exchange or only use the one exchange. I've got a link to ByBit in the top of the video description, where you can get up to $4,450 of sign-up bonuses, whereas if you go direct to the website, $3,030. So if you want the extras, check out the link in the top of the video description. Now, I know a lot of people aren't interested in hearing about land because, for one, a lot of people can't afford it. They don't have an interest in investing in it long term, or maybe they do. Maybe you're one of those people that do want to get into land. So I won't dive so deep into it. Just make sure you stick around on the channel, and I do go into this in more details in the updates, because this is the key here. This is the holy grail when it comes to investing in the longer term cycles. Crypto is very quick. Crypto is a fantastic medium, a fantastic vehicle to get those quick gains, get big quick gains, and then roll it into something else. Throw it into real estate, maybe Bitcoin. But let's talk about the real estate cycle here, because the real estate cycle is very, very long. And I saw this on Becca's post, not understanding what's going on in the entire real estate market. It's up. Who's paying for this? I can't afford it. I have to leave those people aside right now. There will be a lot of people saying it's impossible. What you're saying is not true. It has to come crashing down. At this point, we're going to focus on this, because this is where the true genius lies in the cycle. Right now, we are at this section here, the mid-cycle slowdown. We have been climbing out of this since the COVID crash low. That was when everyone said the world was over. If you remember mid-2020s, maybe you don't, maybe you only just thought about investing in the last 6 months or so, unfortunately, but at least now is a much better time. Then from this point, the market in some areas absolutely skyrocketed. I know in my area about 100%, maybe where you are 50%, 30%. Either way, that amount of gains in real estate is huge, really, really big, because it is all on leverage. The majority of people are buying real estate on leverage. You go to the bank, put 10 or 20% down, you get the rest as a loan. That is leverage. That's how leverage works in crypto. It works in stocks. That's what it is. So with that in mind, we did get really, really big price increases. Governments around the world giving money away to people. The highest levels of saving we ever had was during that period. We had extreme levels of saving. Some places was historic highs, others were just extremely high. A lot of people had a lot of money, regardless of what we heard on the news, which is always the case. And people have gone out and been putting money into assets, in particular the property, land, which is what we're talking about, and that has boosted the prices up. Now what we're seeing is a correction in those prices. That's natural. That's a natural part of the market, and people will again miss that issue. They think the market has to come down 30 or 40%. Of course, this is generally speaking across the board of Western developed countries, and I can't say for every single micro area around the world, but generally speaking across these areas, this is what is happening. So we're getting that correction come back, and this little boom out of that COVID crash low was actually much higher than what it's saying on here. The main thing this is about is just looking at the waves, up, back, little move up, back, and then we head up. So it doesn't have to be at these exact levels in terms of price, but it's the movement of the cycle. So this is what I see us going through now. And the next stage is to push out and go towards new highs. So think about what's happened in crypto. Crypto has massive boom and bust cycles. We all know that now. The bust that we've seen on crypto, phenomenal right now. So let's go on a big chart, weekly chart here. The boom, the bust. Okay, so this is what happens in real estate as well. Let's bring up a bigger chart of this. This happens the same in real estate, except it takes far, far longer than it does in crypto. Crypto moves much more quicker than real estate. So we'll see the same thing, but we have not seen this stage, which is called the winner's curse. Approximately 2 years is what it tends to last. And that is around due probably about 2025, 2026, maybe longer, maybe shorter. Remember, we are talking about longer term cycles here, so we need to have some tolerance both ways. So winner's curse, we've seen it in crypto. There's that peak. Everyone gets super excited into that peak. Everyone gets destroyed because they're in this mindset that it can only go up forever. That is what will definitely happen in real estate. We've seen it happen before, or at least that was when I first started investing in real estate back in 2006 when I bought my first place, and I saw the 2007 peak. Everyone thought it could not go down. Even older people, 40s and 50s. I was only 20 at the time, but those older generations thought it was not possible for it to go down. The guys who'd seen it before, probably around their sort of 60s, late 50s to 60s, they understood that it was part of a cycle. Even they got caught up in it as well. So don't be fooled next time round when this does happen. This is why I don't see us going to a massive crash now, because you don't start a crash from the point of fear. Tops come at exuberance and extreme greed. That's what we just had, extreme greed for crypto, and we got the dump. Real estate, we know it hasn't been at that extreme greed mindset. People have still been fearful, even though the prices were up 50, 30, 100%. So it's not the time yet. Plus, there's a few other things there, but just to get an understanding of the cycle and what I'm looking at, this is pretty much the basis of the next stage of the cycle for the real estate. And we need to understand that so that we can get back to crypto and Bitcoin. I know that's what you're here for, but this is important because, look, this is what I'm doing when it comes to my own investing. I don't just sit around and hope for the best that things are going to work out, draw a couple of lines, and that's it. There's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes than just the typical video of we're trading Bitcoin, we're trading this, trading that. Okay, so we get the point. We're at the weekly here on Bitcoin. We've looked at that in terms of the real estate cycle. We've got some grounding here. I'll go into it in more detail in future videos, so make sure you've done all the things down below, like and subscribe, so you're here for that as well. Okay, so Bitcoin and cryptos. Now for cryptos, if you've been following, you'll know that I still think there's a lot more downside to go with cryptos. I'm looking for this sort of section here, maybe as another 70% from where we currently are, maybe as little as 40%. So there's the top there, it's about 40. So 40 to 70% for cryptos, probably where we'll see the market come down. For the upside, what we did the last cycle was about 4,000%. So look, for round numbers, call it about a 40x. Do we think altcoins can go up another 40x from that, wherever that low is? Possibly. You know, if that low comes in at 200 billion, 40x is a big number. A 10x is going to be a 2 trillion. 20x is going to be a 4 trillion on the altcoins. It's starting to sound a little bit crazy. Correct me if my maths is wrong, but I think the market in altcoins will have to come back a long way. And I'm not sure whether we will see another 40x on the altcoins cryptocurrency market caps. That's what we're looking at here. This is excluding Bitcoin and excluding ETH. Because this last cycle had to start from 20 or 30 billion. So it was much easier for it to get up to these highs of 1 trillion. But if it was to start from 200 billion or even 100 billion, that just a 10x on the altcoin market cap goes to a trillion. And if we're only going to get a 3 trillion or so, that's going to be a 30x from that 100 billion. But the market has to come back to that 100 billion. So that's for me, for altcoins, I'm not looking to buy yet. I think there's still a lot more downside to go with altcoins, and some of these altcoins may never even come back. So hopefully I've used a nice clicky title here, selling all my Bitcoin and crypto, because I'm really trying to give you a very well-rounded idea of what it is that I'm doing looking forward, because I'm planning out the next few years, especially while the markets are down in these bear markets. So the message, what I'm talking about, sell everything next cycle. I'm selling the Bitcoins, I'm selling the Ethereums, I'm selling the cryptos. They need to be out of my portfolio because I think things will get very, very messy next cycle based on this. This is a shorter retracement that we're going through here, the correction. I think the next correction, this is years away. Let me repeat that. It's years away, maybe after 2026, okay? I think that's going to be very messy for a lot of people based on many cycles, major cycles coming together at that point. And that we'll be able to know how messy that is. We'll be able to know approximately timeframes as we get closer towards the end of the cycle. The only thing we need to know here is that, in my belief, we're still going up. And if the banks begin to create a lot of credit leading into the end of this cycle, we'll get extreme peaks. And then the correction will be really, really bad. If the banks don't create as much, then the correction might not be as bad. But typically looking at these last 18, 20 year cycles, the banks do tend to create a lot more credit towards the end of the cycle. And so that's why things get very, very messy at the end of cycles and not right now. I know it's hard to believe. So here's why. All right. Yes, I'm still getting to it. The selling of the crypto, selling of Bitcoin at the end of the cycle. You might say, well, why are you talking about it now? We still need to buy and still to make the money. I know that. I know that. But we want to be prepared for next time, every time. And I'll make some videos about what it is that I'm buying, what I'm looking for, when I'm looking for it, all that sort of stuff on the channel, okay? So reasons why, here's why. Drawdowns, altcoins, always 90% down. They're going to lose 90% of their value. So it's almost like it doesn't matter wherever you sell on that way up, provided you hold it for at least one of those legs, the move up, it's going to come almost all the way back down. Take Solana as an example, because that went up to $250 and now it's down. It's hit a low of $25. There it is, $25.78. And so if a lot of people were buying, say, through this first run or that first pullback before that final run into that peak, because you can see all the volume down here, there's a ton of volume. The market has come all the way back to that area. And like I had NEO up before, so NEO USD on Bittrex, because this is when it first came out back in 2016. This was your Solana of the previous cycle. It came from a few cents. I think it was even fractions of a cent if you could get it earlier than that. And it went all the way up to $200 US. That's huge mega returns. These were the sort of returns that we had in the last cycle. I mean, look at that number, 260,000%, absolutely nuts. This cycle didn't even make it back to the old all-time highs. And that is a very real possibility for something like Solana after going on such a massive, massive run. Maybe this cycle Solana does, or the next cycle, Solana doesn't make it back to the old all-time highs to make a new all-time high. So that's a real possibility for a lot of these altcoins, which are in the top 10, the top 20, the top 50, all that sort of thing. So that's why I'm not playing the risky game of trying to buy these altcoins at dips on the way down. I'm really waiting to see this as a signal, come back, test this level, and then grind its way across probably into the next couple of years before it goes on that final run. The reason why I'm so confident on that is because the moves out of the low to the peak are so short compared to the time that the market is going down and the time that the market is going across. You can see just this move here was about 87 bars, so less than 2 years, a couple of months less than 2 years on the way up. This did over 2 years just going down to that low. So generally speaking, a lot of these altcoins spend a lot longer going down and sideways than they do going up. So you'll say, well, you got to get onto these things quick. Sure, just look for the breakouts. That's it. We'll go into that in more details in future videos because this is already getting long enough just with my thoughts on why I'm selling everything at the other end. And as I said, that is very heavily based on what I think is going to happen economically speaking worldwide over the coming years into 2026. We're waiting to see the market get out of this slump, which I think will come next year, And then all your investors come back into the market, banks start creating more credit, interest rates will rise towards the end of the cycle, and they can continue to rise throughout these next couple of years and not affect what's going on. That is very, very possible, and I am sure that we will see that. So going into that peak, yes, I think cryptos will probably peak before this property cycle peaks. Now, that is another critical point to understand, because it's almost the same as Bitcoin and altcoins. You can see a lot of the money sloshes between Bitcoin and altcoins. People make some gains and they throw it back into Bitcoin or Ethereum. The same thing happens with the real estate cycle heading into this peak. People are making gains from businesses or stocks or anything like that, and then those gains start to find their way into the value of the land. So that's why this thing will keep going in terms of land. And I think at this stage, we're many years off, but I think crypto will probably peak before the end of the real estate cycle. So at that point, that's where I'll be looking to sell a lot of my Bitcoin, maybe all of it. We'll wait and see. I know I've titled this thing something along the lines of selling all of my Bitcoin and crypto, but that is the point that I'm looking to do it next time. I'll very carefully be watching what happens in the next cycle when these sorts of comments start to fly around, especially that's about the community and, the Bitcoin cults that just say, we have to win and we're here to take over the traditional finance and all these sorts of lines, because even next time, I doubt it will happen. It's not time just yet, but I think there is still a lot of money to be made in cryptocurrencies if we can be patient. So back to this screen right here, selling all my cryptos. The message is very strong in the real estate cycle. I hope I've made that part as clear as I possibly can in this video, and I will expand on it in future videos. Going further down, altcoins always come back down. So even if I sell out, I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of time to get back into them if they ever recover. Altcoins may never recover. We looked at that briefly with Neo. If this thing breaks through about $5 or $6, that is going to new mega lows again. I mean, COVID crash is 380, but seriously, that's yellow lines at 650. If that can't hold up, this thing is basically done for. And Solana could be a crypto like that. It might not be. It might have some great gains in the next cycle, because that's still significant gains. If you go from this low to the top, that's still another 3,700%. But it's not going to be something like a new hope and dream that comes out. Cash will be king when that total financial collapse happens again. I hope you learnt that from this cycle. Cash is always king at the tops of markets because everything else becomes cheaper compared to cash. So I'm not going to let those thoughts of cash is dead, cash is trash, blah, blah, blah. That stuff is there to keep you from your cash and take money from you. And massive patience. Massive patience is required. This could be years away, like we saw with the previous cycles. Bottom there, late 2018. Peak, mid to, for some of them, late 2021. Looking at Bitcoin, 2020s, or your lows here at 2018. Peak again, late 2021. So there could be another few years away. If we get that low that I'm looking at towards later 2022 or early 2023, give it 3 years from that low, brings us into a peak of about late 2025. So it comes in almost in a great timing for this property cycle, where I think this will peak later 2026. I think the fun and excitement might go out of crypto. And if it extends, great. We'll be here to understand that as well. So in amongst all of this that I've got written down, this is how I am investing moving forward over the next 3, 4, 5 years, waiting to see how things happen, but I have to have a game plan during the bear market. That is when I'll be selling all of my crypto and Bitcoin. When I see the cycles come to another peak, I'm saying this now so I can rewatch it later. I'm not going to be the one that says I'm never selling my Bitcoin, I'm holding it all. Next cycle, I'm pretty sure it's all done for, unless there's something absolutely crazy that changes. But this is here to remind me at that time why I'm selling all of my crypto and my Bitcoin to hold my cash, because cash will be king come the next total financial collapse, which has to stem from land values collapsing. And we are not seeing land values collapse right now. If you want to follow the journey, stick around here on the channel, subscribe. And if you want to get more information on how to set up your plan, trade, and invest, check out the links to the Investor Accelerator Lite and Premium. That gives you the weekly updates that I go through with my brother Michael, looking at commodities, real estate, crypto, stock markets, and how we're piecing this all together as full-time investors. Links will be in the top of the video description. Like and subscribe. Guys, thanks again for your support. I'll see you at the next one. Till then, peace out.